It's time for Under the Influence with myself, Dan Schinder, and Lou Colarola. The first episode of the year, which means we're going to have outros to say goodbye to. That was a nice abrupt ending to the soundtrack. Outros to say goodbye to last year and intros for this year, right, Lou?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode. I'm looking forward to this one. It's always great doing these episodes with you, but I like the intros and the outros one kind of as some of my favorites we've done.
Yeah, and this one's a little different. Before, when we've done intros or outros, they've been drumming focused, like just the drums. So just a drums intro, just a drums outro. Whereas this, we're playing two really cool intros and outros with the rest of the band for whatever music each of us picked out, which we don't really discuss much at all before we make our selections. I happen to see Lou's because he sends them to me to have them queued up for the show, so I get to see what he picked. And funny enough, I usually don't get to record mine until the day of, which I did this morning. And I think only once we've had a couple things overlap, like
almost never.
Yeah, but now,
unless it was intentional, unless we planned it,
right. And these are completely different. We're both wearing beanies and overgarments because we're freaking cold. Losing some undisclosed expedition camp shed in the Arctic zone, and I'm in Clove, Arizona, up in the mountains east of Phoenix. Cool. So what do you want to do first? You want to go first? I'll play one of yours first. I'll play them in order that you numbered them.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. I wasn't sure if I remembered to number them for you. Yeah, because I guess we're gonna say goodbye to the by 2023 and do a few of our outros first, right?
We'll do the outros first.
I believe if I remember my numbering correctly. So the first one I chose was going back. There was always a lot of talk about, double bass being associated with like heavy metal music, which, in reality, you go back, Louis Bellson, guys who were, it was like in the 30s.
Yeah.
So it's just that it became more associated with that. But that classic hard rock or double bass heavy metal drum beat, the decka 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 kind of, or as in drummer speak. Supposedly the stories out there really, and from what I found and can go by, seems like this is pretty accurate, that Ginger Baker was the first drummer to really put that on recording, and it was during the outro fading section of Sunshine of Your Love. Yeah. So I decided that was a kind of a cool place to start on this one, and I don't believe now we've done 14 episodes. There's we a lot of drummers to cover, and I don't think, I was looking back, I don't think I had ever selected anything from Ginger before.
You hadn't, and this one's
time to
really
get him on
cool.
Here.
Yeah, this one's really cool too. And folks, I almost forgot, tell us where you're watching from and cite any of your favorite intros and outros. So here we go with Lou's really killer rendition of his outro to Sunshine of Your Love. Yeah, check this out, folks. Here it comes. That's so killer. Great sound too. That was a good one.
Thank you. Hard to get that one. Like, I know that in interpreting that as it's fading out there, I'm trying to play as close to, but I'm not sure. It sounds like in his, like towards the ending there, I do believe he does a little more with the snare in the pattern on the track there, but I was trying to match it as close as I could. But yeah, that was, really the first place. And I didn't notice that until some friends pointed that out to me years later. I always kind of thought that classic double bass bass, probably showed up in like, Rainbow or something like a Cozy Powell, like where you're really used to hearing that. And then someone said, no, you listen here, listen close at the end of that. And you get a couple bars of it right as the tracks kind of fade. And I was like, oh yeah, there you go. There's that classic double bass, outro.
Yeah, a lot of marching bands have more than one bass too. Okay, here's one of mine. This one is so starting with outros. I'm gonna start with a really fun song to play from one of my most favorite bands, the band Yes, and this is from Going for the One, which has a really cool outro.
Love it.
Check this out, folks. Fun song to play. I like
Love
the
that
ending
song.
Broken up by those chokes and everything. It's cool.
Great selection. It's cool because I don't, folks, as Dan mentioned, like I don't usually I don't know what you're doing most of the time until
Neither
like
do
right
I.
at this moment. So
Even when I'm doing it.
Keep forgetting, we got to have our little cue up for the bumps. We need one of those for this show.
I will have that next time. Very cool. Lou's number 2 selection is.
Yeah. Now this one again, I was saying about the stories, I tried to pick for this episode too, the intros and outros, something that just had like a little tale behind it or whatnot, little story to tell. And this one, and folks, please, I would love any information that folks can help us out with on this one. John Cougar's song, I Need a Lover. So that was from his first album. What was it called? Autobiography, if I'm correct, or so, I believe. Was that like 78? And I know that was mostly like they recorded that, I think, in London. And the drummer was Tommy Knowles, and that was the track was recorded then. But then he released an album in the United States with his band here a year or two later, and we know of Kenny Aronoff, right? And Kenny's, played the song, countless times live. But I'm finding conflicting reports online as to who did this cool outro, because there was always this really cool, the drums just sounded, it's not the most complex, crazy thing in the world, but was always, I remember, not even being the biggest John Cougar fan, always loved the outro to this song for the drums on the radio growing up. And it's just such a big, and coming back to it for the show was really cool to be like, what exactly is that? And I think I got it. And again, there's also a lot of conflicting reports online as to how this outro was actually played. But there is, I did find a drum forum online where Tommy Knowles himself checks in and says, no, folks, it at least on the original track, it was me. And a few said, or are those Bonham triplets at the end? He said, no. And he was basically playing like you guys keep guessing, but nobody's gotten it right yet. So wow. I do what I think is the outro, but it sounds to me like what we're hearing on the track. But what a really cool drumming outro on this one. So yeah, John Cougar's I Need a Lover, I think is Tommy Knowles on the drums, but could be a version that maybe Kenny recorded as well. Right. Folks, let us know.
Let us know. Check this out. Oh, cool. It does sound like it. I don't know if that's what he's doing, but it does sound just like it.
I tried a couple things and said, well, no, that seems like it. I mean, but there's such a the huge production on the drums on that track originally.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it sounds like they're in a monstrous cave. So, some of what you're hearing, you get some of that, sometimes you get that like slapback sound, right? Which
Yeah.
think of something like When the Levee Breaks,
Yeah,
where
I was
some
just gonna say
folks
that
have
one.
thought some of those notes are actually the slapback,
Slapback,
not
yeah.
him actually playing those notes. And I wonder, so
That's
there's my
cool.
interpretation of what that outro would
Yeah,
be.
because there's things that I played for a long period of time before I actually saw how the drummer did it, especially before YouTube and Facebook and all that,
Right?
which yeah, where I'd go, oh, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
But what I was doing, it sounded the same, but it was totally different sticking or hand to foot coordination or
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah. So I can relate to that. That's cool. That sounded
I think
killer.
my best example of something like that growing up, like pre-internet, was especially I'm a lefty, right? I've always mentioned I'm a lefty on a righty kit. So once I got into double pedal, a lot of what I would hear drummers doing that we call, like, say, your classic, sweep fill, that bottom fill, that,
Yeah.
snare, tom, floor, kick thing,
Yeah.
the a lot of times when I was growing up pre-internet, I'd hear drummers do that and think it was two toms and two bass drums, da-da-da-da, like that
Oh,
kind of a
interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
And then when seeing guys do that sweeping, cool right-handed move,
Yeah.
so that, yeah, but until, like, probably when the internet was starting to creep and come in was when I really learned, like, that move properly in songs where I was probably playing it incorrectly up until then.
Yeah. It all comes down to what it sounds like, though. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? To me, it's about that rather than exactly the
true.
sticking. If it sounds the same, what does it matter? Uh,
Yeah.
that's my rationalization for doing it wrong. My next outro is where did it go? Where did it go? Another yes one. I had to pick another yes song, and actually, Stephen thought of this. I was kind of stumped, and we happened to be on the phone while I was in my studio. I'm like, Tempest Fugit has a
I
really
love
neat
it.
outro. Yeah,
It's some of my favorite Yes songs today.
yeah. So let's check this out. See how the old guy hangs. All right, enough of that. That's not as
Awesome
easy
stuff.
as it looks. It's such a simple rudiment with accents, but it's so long and it's got to be so even and of course in time, but keeping the dynamic the same. It's actually I was kind of like, what have I got myself into halfway
That
through?
was nice. So that
And I
was
didn't
good.
practice
I
it.
love those songs.
Yeah, I didn't practice. I just put it on and there you got what you got.
Go for it. Well, like a lot of great drummers always say, don't think about it too much, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Exactly. I tend to not think about it at all. And now we're going to move to intros.
Welcome in. Happy New Year, all.
Yeah.
Welcome 2024, right?
I can't believe it. 2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
And 14 episodes already. Whew, that's gone quick. It still feels like it's been 3 or 4.
Yeah. So
Um,
do you remember which one you have for this?
I think so. Yeah, I know which two I did. Let's see if I remember the order. So would this one be Mr. Powell? Did I go
Um,
for number three as Mr. Powell?
3 is king.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So then, yeah. So another I used him on one of our classic intros, like when Dan mentioned that our intros were a lot of them were sometimes just the drums unaccompanied. One of the classic intros was always, Stargazer with Cozy Powell.
No, I love that.
So another here, and there's just so many. His drums just had such power and such cool arrangements and stuff. So Kill the King from Rainbow, and trying to find, I found kudos to the band that did. Oh geez, sorry, I don't have the name of the band that I stole the live version from here to play, because Rainbow would classically live play the intro of Kill the King rather different than the studio album.
Oh,
So he still did some pretty flashy stuff, but it wasn't those cool fill breaks that you hear on the album. So I was trying to find a band that really
oh,
did
cool.
that justice, and so that's the track that I used
Cool.
underneath this one to do the Cozy Powell studio version of Rainbow's Kill the King.
Dig it, folks. Here it comes. God, what a great band they were.
Oh, so much fun. Like there was some great versions of trying to find that. I came across some really great footage of that era band. But like I said, the intro was different. Like Richie did this really cool melodic thing, and it was more like accents and hits a thing played between the band. So some of the fills were kind of
Oh, yeah.
arranged differently and all. It was a great intro, but I really wanted to feature the album
The one
intro
that
because I
people would
just
more
that
be
album.
familiar with.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was, that album had such a, was so important to me during the growing up, when I first discovered that. Like I wore, an album and a couple cassettes of that out, just listening to, Long Live Rock and Roll over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
so many great pieces on that album.
Absolutely. Awesome work. My first outro is or
Intro.
intro. Sorry, just kidding. Intro. I told you I don't think about it. This is UK,
Ooh,
in the dead of night, and so
what an
this is
awesome one.
Bill Bruford, Eddie Jobson, Alan Holdsworth, and the great late John Wetton, great late Alan Holdsworth as well. And I just love this song. I wanted to just play the whole song, but
Yeah,
here we go.
great
I dig
choice.
this. Thanks. There you go. That's
Really
such a
well done.
weird
That's
ass
such a
beat.
great one.
Thanks.
So cool.
You
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's got that real quick double like 16th note on the bass drum that's just in a weird spot. It took a while. Like I'm sure, like you, I could hear it and understand it in my head, but then I had to teach myself the coordination, to get that down. And that
Yeah, and then
happens
there's
with me a
those
lot.
drummers like Bruford. I mean, to like, sure, I like, we've all like learned some of his parts, but to like, he has that style too. It's like I don't play naturally like Bill Bruford, right? I have to like
Right.
learn to play a Bruford part. There are some drummers that I may have more similar style to, and adapting to covering them is like, okay, that feels more like what I would do. This isn't so bad. And then
Yeah.
there are the drummers that, that are just like, wow, they got that thing that is so not how I play.
Yeah. I truly, truly believe that a lot of drummers have their own sound, of course, but there's been no one who sounds like Bill Bruford or plays like Bill Bruford or has their drums tuned like Bill Bruford or their
Yeah.
electronic drums even sounds. He's so different from any other drummer. I really can't think of anyone who sounds like him.
Yeah, he's incredibly innovative in all aspects of drumming, and his approach to the parts. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Absolutely. So,
So
skipping
other
forward, but there
drummers
we go.
that definitely were this definitely falls into a kind of why I saved this one for this part of the intros, where I always have to learn to play parts like this particular drummer. What a
Ooh.
phenomenal drummer, Stuart Copeland,
Oh, yeah.
and his that just his sense of time and playing around it. It's just he's just got such a cool, unique style of his own, really. And I saw an interview not long ago too, where he's talking about this, and someone he does these cool, call in things where you could write in a question, and someone said, "Well, what do you think is your hardest beat to play?" And he said, "Well, honestly, I think it's probably Spirits in the Material World." And I always remember going, "Oh, that's interesting." It was like it's a little minimal. I was like, it doesn't sound like it's that hard. And then
Right.
he explains a little, because there's nothing really on the downbeat. It's all on the and his accents, the way he just floats them in on the offbeats. And so this one took a few tries to really feel comfortable doing it. And I did take the right approach. And I played traditional grip as he does as well on this one, which I normally am generally a matched grip person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of fun to get into this one and play that intro. And yeah, it's definitely the Spirits of the Material World intro is one cool drum intro, and way trickier to play in time than it seems, because it's everything that you're doing is kind of against the whole band, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's check this out, folks. Yeah, you got it though.
Took a few though. That was not the first take.
That is tricky though. And their reunion concert show, the DVD or the broadcast of it is amazing. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then there's a accompanying documentary around the whole thing coming together and the stage design and stuff. It's really neat. I love that
Ooh,
stuff.
that I have not seen. I'll have to
Yeah,
check for that.
it's
Yeah, his
really
stuff's so
cool.
much fun to play. I love the turnaround of that. The upbeat into the choruses there, and that the way it just becomes that nice solid rock groove for the choruses, and
Yeah,
then goes back to the
back
off
to the
time
other
for the
thing.
verses is really neat.
Yeah, that is cool. So I have actually I have two more intros because I accidentally recorded an extra one. I forgot what we were doing. I told Lou, yeah. So I recorded three intros, and then I got upstairs to the house, and my wife said, "You sounded really good." And as I said, "Thanks," I realized, oh, I just recorded three intros. It was supposed to be intros and outros, so I had to go back down, turn everything back on. So we ended up, if it's okay, with the extra intro, if everybody can put up with that. Or let's see, or it was two outros. Wait, what's happening here? Yeah, that's right. Extra
Yeah,
intro.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you've got one. You got at least one more left, if not two,
Okay.
right?
It is two intros, yeah, that are left. Here we go. The first one is Yes Again. Um, this is Future Times from the Tormato album, and I'm playing
Ooh.
to a bootleg from that tour at the Richfield Coliseum in Cleveland, 1978. It is so crystal clear that that's one of the reasons I chose it because I just hear it so well. So what I like about this is um, it's got a nice solid beat, but when it comes out of the main intro and goes into the riffy part of the intro, Alan is playing the ta 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 on a Ludwig TDR marching snare drum to the left of his hi-hat, actually, whereas I don't have my second snare set up, so I just did it on my main one. But I just love this has a different sort of groove, but a groove nonetheless to it. I really like this. Here we go. Future Times by Yes. There you go.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's a fun piece to play as well. And then it going into its, I guess, sister song, I call it Rejoice, it goes right into that, which has some really cool drumming and bass as well. And then I have my extra one because I forgot what I was doing, and it's a Rush song. It's one of my favorites to play. If you follow Dan's almost daily vlog, whenever I play like a Rush assortment on a Rush birthday or something like that, this is always in the mix. This is Middletown Dreams. It's one of my favorite pieces
Sweet.
to play. Yeah. And I
Nice.
actually think that the songs on Power of Windows, I think, are some of the most challenging Rush songs to play on drums, anyway. And I love those songs, Marathon and the having a brain fart. The song about the Enola Gay.
Middletown Dreams.
No. I'm mentioning some of the other songs on there on that same album
Okay.
on Power Windows they're all challenging, but this one has, I think, the best intro. Here we go. Paradiddles, think paradiddles, folks. Couldn't find the button. There we are. I love that one. I love that.
Great stuff. Yeah, yeah. You know, and that's true. Like when you were saying before, where some of his stuff, got on the drums to be so complex around there, because that's really, I would have to agree where when he just got into that whole layering of, especially during songs like acoustic and electric, and
Hmm.
sometimes like he's playing like two separate sets of patterns like simultaneously. And
Yeah,
yeah, his layering and independence during that era of Rush just
yeah.
really went to another level on the drum stuff there. Yeah, really great. Well done, Dan. Nice one.
Thank you. Thanks. That one I probably have a lot more practice on than a lot of Rush songs. I actually, one of my outro selections was I was trying to play to a bootleg to La Villa Strangiato, which I know inside and out. I mean, I've been playing it since I was 15 when it came out.
Yeah,
It's
right.
imprinted on me. But the bootleg I found that was clear enough, the timing was weird. After they came out of that last dum bum bum bam 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 bam, after they came out of that, and then it went back into bam 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 diddle dun dun
Yeah.
da. The timing was just weird, and I tried it twice and said, I'll do something else. And we ended up with
Okay.
the going for the one track instead, or Tempest Fugit. Yeah, was what I came up
Yeah.
with after that. But yeah, fun stuff.
Nice choices. Now,
Thanks.
might you do you have the extra clip that I
Yes,
forwarded
I
along?
sure do.
So then it kind of, it's neat. It ties right into what you had just done there, and it just worked out that I know you had said that you had the extra, and I was just reaching out to say, hey, should I send this along? Because I've mentioned in the past with my work with Limelight, the Rush tribute, we were honored enough to be part of a series of albums that are called Songs for Neil. We were on volume 2, and it was our version of Anthem. And Steve Brown from the Rush tribute Moving Pictures, great guy, great group. He's been the one that organizes all these tributes, and they've raised tons of money for some incredible charities. And we're happy to say that Limelight will be included on Volume 5 coming out later this year.
Nice.
And I'll mention what song specifically, but if you have that little clip,
I
just to
do.
see if anybody wants to chime in, if any of you guys know the song that we are recording,
So
I just have the
that's
little
why it's so
little
short.
snippet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's just
watched
a
it.
little snippet right there.
It's so short that I went, "Ah," and I thought, is this supposed to
Just the
be
drum
that short?
intro.
All right, I'll
And if
play that.
anybody know what song this is, but this will be our feature that we're going to have our Limelight version of this classic Rush song on Songs for Neil Volume 5 out later this year.
Cool. I will play it a few times and let people guess. Here we go. And if no one gets it on the live, Lou will keep an eye on the archive. And that's if you get it right on the Drum Talk TV Facebook page, because when this is over, well, during, Steve has been sharing it into groups. Then he's going to put it on YouTube and Vimeo and Instagram. But if you guess it and put your guess on the page, Lou will let you know that you're right, even if it's not on the live. So here we go. I gotta play it a few more times. All right, one more time. So, funny thing, I think I know what song it is, but there's this other song that keeps doing this. Text me, or I'll text you what I think it is. Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So should I not?
Now
So
I'm
I
second
won't
guessing.
give the answer now, right?
Yeah,
I shouldn't give the answer
no,
to
not
that one.
yet.
But
Not yet.
okay, so
Someone's
folks, that is the one that's coming up for those of you that know, and
Stephen is
I
saying he
will make
thinks.
sure I check.
Yeah, and Steve is saying he thinks he knows. I'm gonna turn my mic off so I can dictate it. It'd just be easier to
Should
say.
should I give at least a clue for those that are out there going, "What in the heck's he talking about?"
Um, no, I'll play it a couple more times in a moment, and then you
Okay.
can if no one guesses. But Steve, you could take Steve's guess. I'm gonna text mine too. Okay, good. For a second, I thought, oh, my mic wasn't off. And while people get, you want to take Steve's guess? You want me to ask him what it is?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
see. I'm trying to pull up that page here as well so I can see that.
Oh wow,
Ah,
Steve, as far as I know, is way off unless I'm way off.
no, good guess, Stephen, but not this time.
Okay.
I'll make a slight hint on this one. Think new guy, if that helps. Debut of the new guy.
Okay. So I had the album right. Oh, I didn't press send on my text. Okay, I just sent it. And John Malloy says the video keeps getting stuck. I haven't noticed that on my
Uh-oh.
monitor, so it might be on your end, John. And I'm looking at the frame rate and all that, and it all looks great. I'm all in the green, so I'm not sure, John. It might be on your side. If not, I apologize.
Yeah, I
For
hope it's
signal.
not our feed.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Steve can maybe chime in with that as well.
Sir, Dan, I've replied to you just in case. But Dan, your guesses were close, but no cigar.
Oh, for both of them?
Correct.
Not one of them were right? Oh, then
let me make sure. Da, 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 da. Nope.
Okay, so I can hear the song in my head, the music, but I'm trying to work my way to the lyrics.
Yeah. Eric and Steve, you like, we don't, obviously in my clip, you don't get to hear the vocals, but you hear like Eric and Steve's first couple notes before it fades out. And they do a real nice job recreating the tones from that album.
I'm going to play it again. A couple of oh, Steve says I may have been thinking of different Clockwork English song, but evidently I'm still way off. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's okay. Here comes a couple more times. And by the way, Lou just texted me the answer, and that is the song I had in my head. I just couldn't think of the title, but I had the music right in my head. Two more times.
Thank you.
We'll see if someone gets it. Yeah. And if no one gets it, we'll sign off in a moment. So if no one gets it, got to keep your eye on the post.
I'll check in, folks. I'll make sure I answer you and give you your proper due if you get it.
And I want to mention this. When I saw Steve a few weeks ago, and we went into Walmart so I could use the restroom real quick, and he said, "I'll meet you in the music section." And he bought me this. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah, I have. That is a good book.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's a nice commemoratization of their whole career in a nutshell, basically. And it actually has some pictures I've never seen. Steve's going to yell at me for not keeping my face on the mic, but it's hard to do. Yeah, there's actually some pictures here I've never seen.
That's been neat. I've noticed on a couple groups and such. It seems like lately, I thought myself, fancied myself quite the Rush geek, but I've come across a lot of photography lately that I had never seen before.
Yeah,
Classic one there.
One of them is right here of Neil in the dressing room. Apparently, I think it. Yeah, this little one here. I've never seen that before.
Oh yeah. I have a couple times there's a couple biography books that I've seen that in, but that's not one that you usually catch in all the common stuff.
Yeah, here's another one I don't think I've ever seen.
Well, that one doesn't look as familiar as I would think. Yeah, some great stuff coming out, and I've seen like a lot of really neat photos from the Caress of Steel tour seeming to pop up, which is really cool.
Yeah. And now I'm getting lost in this. I'll have to go. I've never seen this one.
I think it looks a little, or maybe at least, I may not have seen it in that format, but it looks like from a photo session that I've seen other pictures from.
Oh, interesting. Have you read this?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
so
Although
you,
funny enough, I just recently signed up at my library does audiobooks,
I was
and that
gonna
one's
say,
coming in.
yeah,
So I'd love
Steve
to,
bought
yeah,
us.
I want to check that out.
Yeah, Steve bought us the book, and I listened to it on audio first, and
Ah,
it's
sweet.
Getty reading it, which is great,
Yeah.
telling the story, which I just love. This is great, and there's a lot of great pictures in here I never saw before. This is really, really, really good.
I have a couple friends who went to a few of the local performances and readings that he did, and they raved about it as well. And yeah, I'm sure the book's going to be really really good. And hearing him read it makes it kind of exciting. That's what's kind of gotten me interested in doing the audiobook version.
Okay, yeah, and the book, by the way, is simply called Rush: 55 Years of Rock's Most Powerful Trio. That's quite a statement. Um, and it could be argued that no, it was Cream, no, it was the Jimi Hendrix Experience, no, it was, but 55 years. There's been no other rock trio, to
Right.
my knowledge, that's lasted that long. So that's what the magazine is, and it's by who's the publisher? It's by, in case anyone wants to look it up and order it if they don't see it on the magazine rack. Bear with me here, folks. I don't see who it's by, which is weird. It might be, oh, Inquirer slash A360 Media Specials. That's what it is. Cool. And the book is My F and Life by Geddy Lee. And it is so good. It really is. And these are easy to find on the book is easy to find on Amazon and on Audible. Audible comes free with Amazon Prime, which is cool. Thanks, Steve, for the note. All right. Has anyone guessed it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so John's asking you a question. John Malloy says, as a Rush tribute drummer, what cymbals do you use, Lou?
Aha. I am good question. Good question. I am a Zildjian guy, and although for a while I was using some I had the Clockwork Ride for a while and
Oh.
used a couple Paragons over the time, but I tended to be a Zildjian guy. So I try and set up the kit arrangement pretty similar to his. But when we first started with Limelight, I was setting the kit up with double bass. But now I've modified it to be more like his kit in the later era with the single bass and the toms going up in that arrangement. So I set up the cymbals pretty close to the same, although me being a weird lefty on a righty kit, I have my modifications so I can reach things the right way. But yeah, I've been mostly a Zildjian A and Zildjian Orientals on the current setup.
And I'll freeze frame it so people can.
Oh, from that one too. Yeah, from that using what I did on the track. It was here in the studio was all my Zildjians, but I'll usually set up a slightly different kit with some different cymbals when I perform out with Limelight to make it more of an accurate setup.
And some of the smaller toms.
Yeah, those weren't set up for the tracking that I'd been doing in the studio, so there's none of the smaller toms and on that particular kit.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, the Ping Ride.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, Ping Ride is what John is citing as well. Yeah, most of my cymbals are Zildjian. I have, and here I'll freeze frame my kit and give everyone a real quick rundown since we're geeking out on on gear. Quick rundown. Let's see. Okay, so I'll point. So they're all Zildjians except these two splashers are HHX, and this one's really cracked up. It's not going to last much longer. These are both HHX, Dave Weckl signature splashes. Then right here behind me there, I've got an Ozone, a Sabian Ozone. Everything else is Zildjian. This one here is a 12-inch thin crash. And then I've got some cheap ass cymbals mixed in with this that sound great. Seriously, this is a XBT Pang, not a China, but a Pang. There's a difference. The difference is you can see how shallow this is and how narrow that rim is compared to this china over here. So, and then this is a 16-inch from the same series. This is a Zildjian ride I've had since like 1970 or 73 at the latest, and I love it. It's amazing. This is a custom A series with the hammered little dots. This is a Wuhan 12-inch china. This is a stack I made of two Zildjian XBTs that I've always wanted a stacker, so I just used those. They were kind of old and the splash is a little bent, but it works great. I just love it. And then this
Right.
is a
Some of the
20
best
inch.
stackers are old cymbals.
Yeah, and this is an 18-inch Wuhan China, which I just love. And this is a 20-inch Wuhan gong as well. And those are 15-inch Zildjian hi-hats. The bottom is like a K and the top is a Brilliance, very heavy. And yeah, those are the cymbals I have set up. On my other kit, which you can see part of back there, I have a very interesting ride that I've never seen another one of, other than when I bought it in 1979. It was a brand new Zildjian Earth ride. It has
Oh, yeah.
no grooves. It weighs a ton, and it looks like it sat in like an acid bath. It's all weirdly discolored and stuff like that. It's really neat. I really like it. And then on that kit, I've also got another 17-inch. What a weird size. I have a 17-inch thin crash and a 18-inch China or Pang Zildjian and a 14-inch crash that's a thin crash. And the hi-hats are actually, I forgot the name of the series, but inexpensive Sabian hi-hats that sound really great. And it's just a little 4-piece jazz kit. And then I have my electronic kit that's been sitting, poor babies, in their cases since we moved to Arizona 7.5 years ago. And when we moved here 7 years ago, I said, I'll just wait to set those up when I put in the new floor I wanted to put in. I still haven't put it in. It's getting done this spring for sure. The studio's getting a whole makeover. My friend, in fact, is coming over tomorrow, who just built a new studio, and he's going to scope it out and give us some ideas.
Start getting it underway. Oh,
Yeah,
sounds like
finally.
a good project.
Finally, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna look neat too. Yeah.
And you mentioned the Wuhan too, because I know like it's funny for what is generally a fairly inexpensive cymbal. The Wuhan China is, even speaking of like the Neil setups, the Wuhan China was one of his staples for his sound for so long. I remember reading that if it eventually developed the crack, and he played that Wuhan until it was like, oh no, we have to retire it. There's like nothing left of it basically. And yeah, they just such a great classic sound.
Yeah, mine sounds almost exactly like the one he uses in the opener of Armor and Sword from Snakes and Arrows. Sounds just like that. And John, I agree with John. He says Earth Rides always remind me of Rudes. And I think the Earth Rides came before the Heisty Rude series, I think. I know that Stuart Copeland has always played Rudes, but I don't remember if they were out yet in '79. Their first album didn't come out that early, so I don't know if Rudes were around yet. Unless, I don't think they were. So I think Rudes,
I want to say they were a couple years later, but I don't. Yeah, I think the Earth Ride was just a little before, because Earth Ride was 70s, but Rudes maybe were early 80s.
Yeah, and
then they might have hit at the end of the 70s though.
I wouldn't be surprised if they mindfully copied the Earth Ride to develop that series. Stewart's hi-hats, those Rude hi-hats, are so classic when he plays with just the tip of the stick. It's amazing. There's no other hi-hats that sound like that. They're very distinct. And you know what? A lot of times, I know that everyone's loyal to their brands that they like. I so appreciate that. But when people argue about the brands and stuff, like on most recordings you hear, you don't know what anybody's using any more than you do what strings are on the bass, or that. Well, maybe on the bass you can tell if it's round wound or flat wound, but you might not know the brand. Just those arguments crack me up, because you put someone who really knows drums, in front of 4 drum sets made of the same shells, same head, same sizes, and one person plays the same thing on each kit individually, no one can say what brand each kit is if they're blindfolded. No one. No one. Challenge me on that, folks. No one. And that's not to
There's a
take
new show.
Yeah, it's not to take away from the loyalty of that people show to the brands they like. I'm not taking away from that. But don't say this is better, that's better, this is better. There is no better. It's what you like better. No one can identify a drum brand blindfolded. You just can't. It's silly to even propose that notion. You know, there, I'm starting a shitstorm. I should probably back off a little bit. And I think, John Singh, I'm correct on the Rude development, probably after seeing that Earth Ride, because it was very unique. And there was no other series within Zildjian. It was just the Earth Ride that had no grooves.
Yeah,
it was really heavy.
right.
It looked like it sat in acid for a while. Mine even has on the back, on the underside, it has like the squares are about that big, like 4 by 4 inches of like traces of a grid, as if it sat on a grid. It's really weird.
Oh,
Yeah. Maybe before they shaped it or something.
that's pretty neat.
Yeah. The ping on that is just amazing. And the bell, it is so dry. See, that's why I decided to put it on that kit. I easily could have just bought, another ride and an inexpensive one that sounded good. But I set that kit up at first to have a jazz kit. I've never had a 4-piece kit. And the Earth Ride is that old school, really dry, dusty, dark sound that you hear in a lot of classic old school jazz.
Right. Yeah, that just suits the tones and the feel really correctly.
Yeah. So no one's guessed your piece yet. So
indirectly, I then folks will be able to see it, but Steven got it right.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. Let me scroll up.
It's in there.
Oh, wow, he did. Oh, wow, Steve. Awesome. That's kind of a deep cut, considering.
Yeah, well, and actually it is, yes. So, well, the answer's out there, so I guess it's okay for me to say. So yeah, we're Limelight is submitting Best I Can, and you did mention deep cut. The big thing too is, and I love that Steve is doing this. Steve Brown, who's putting it together. It's already episode. I'm going to say episode. It's already volume 5. So, and he doesn't want to keep releasing these and having it be the same 10 Rush songs. So the idea is all the tributes and the artists that are submitting, he tries to, there's only been on 5 volumes, I believe he's only actually had 2 or 3 overlap songs, but he's trying to keep that from happening at all. So there's already about 111 songs or so that have been released from their catalog. Because most of these,
does it get so thin that it's slim pickings? Is it? Yeah,
he's it's basically trying to his idea is, well, these are doing well. People enjoy taking part. People enjoy listening to them. It's raising some money for awesome charities and doing some wonderful good as well. So his plan is to keep releasing them until all of Rush's catalog has been tributed on however many it takes. But each album usually has between 20 and 25 tracks. Wow. So there's already 4 out, with the 5th one coming. So you do get a little, you got to start looking for, well, what? Okay, that one. Oh, that one's been recorded. That one. Oh, there's one. And
has anyone done Rivendell?
No, not yet. That one is not, that has not been released yet. So yeah, looking at the tracks that come up, and we just Limelight, we love the we've always really taken to the earlier 70s era Rush ourselves. And so that song was really exciting and fun to track. So that was just our little sneak peek of the intro of Best I Can, coming up later this year.
Very cool. Keep us up to date with that. And folks, thanks for following what we do on Drum Talk TV, and for joining Lou and myself here on Under the Influence. And sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the post, as well as the site, the Drum Talk TV membership site, Drum Talk TV Brilliant. We already have 2 live stream concerts scheduled for Kooky Wizards, January 27th. And then we have Aaron Anderson's band holiday on Saturday, February 17th. And we're talking to lots of other artists in these virtual amphitheaters that we have on Saturday, the one called the Island. You can see all these videos on the Facebook page. Looking for featured videos at the top, and you'll see me talking about them in the theater. There's a space theater, there's a bubble theater, really cool stuff that we're doing. That's just part of what's happening. Check it out. And Lou, thank you. Hang on the line with me, folks.
Thank you
again so much.